السبيل.
Humanity sets the agenda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very warm welcome to you this very Monday morning. A rather chilly one, I must say, but we definitely going to be warming up your spirits with the types of topics that we have. Welcome to the mid-morning show. I know you're not used to seeing Appa Miriam, but we've decided that I'm going to do a Monday and she'll be doing the Thursday for this week. So I'm really looking forward to enticing you in the beginning of the week to be able to have a splendid week with, should we say, loads of empowerment, upliftment, education, and relative issues that could help you move out of the places that you're in. And I always say it, into better spaces, and that's what we're looking at. So welcome with myself, Nafisa Dangle. We're definitely going to be having a really good lineup of topics this morning, and let me give you an idea of some of them. But before we do that, there was something that I was busy reading, and I thought I'd give you some form of inspiration before we start off this morning. It says, good things come to those who believe, better things come to those who are patient, and the best things come to those who don't give up. And I think during this COVID-19 period, that is the most important thing, is having to entice your space into, should we say, your mindset, which is the most important thing. And we know mindset is something that we should look at and get ourselves, should we say, into a very positive vibe. And that's what's going to help us. So let's look at being positive this week and trying to get over our challenges by telling ourselves that we're going to find the necessary solutions to be able to help us move forward. So let's look at the type of topics that we're going to be talking about, which is going to, should we say, educate you in some way and inspire you also to be able to have a better week and hopefully going forward a better quality of life. We're going to be starting off with the art of letting go, and that we're going to be speaking to Sister Nazia Saloojie. She'll be giving an advice on how to get rid of those past traumas and getting a better vision of ourselves. Because, you know, as we know, when we do go through a trauma, it's something that sticks with us for a while. So she's going to teach us how to get into a better space. Followed by that, we're going to be speaking to an adventurer, Zert Botha. He's going to give us a recollection of his solo record-breaking 7,200-kilometer transatlantic voyage from Cape Town to Rio de Janeiro to raise awareness on sustainability and caring for our planet. That's a rather interesting one. And then, what should you look out for when you want to donate to an NGO or humanitarian organization, or to avoid being scammed? And as we know, there's so much of that going around. People are being scammed every single minute of the day. So we're going to give you some really good tips on how to deal with that aspect of it. And then, as we know, matric exams are coming up. It's a very stressful time for students. So Sister Miriam Maputi is going to give us tips on how parents can support and ease the burden of exams on the children. And we know it's been a very difficult period through COVID-19, with them having to learn online and parents trying to get involved. So for the matrics last year and this year, it's been a very difficult one. So we thought we'd try and help you out with that particular aspect. So stay with us. We're going to be back with you in an instant with Sister Nazia Saloojie.
Looking to get your kick? Kiki's have now reopened on 235 Matthews Maiwa Road in Durban. Head on over for the Taste with Kick. We offer something scrumptious for everyone in the family. Wraps, chicken tikka, burgers, tender grills, mocktails, milkshakes, and so much more. Corporate and events catering available. Visit our social media pages for more info or call 031 209 0119. Kiki's, the Taste with Kick.
Famine, conflict, and severe economic decline make the humanitarian crisis in Yemen the worst in the world. More than 20 million Yemenis do not know where their next meal is coming from, and over 10 million are suffering extreme levels of hunger. With your support, the Al Imdad Foundation delivers essential food aid to starving Yemeni communities. It's a question of survival. So let's do what's right. Donate online at alimdad.com. or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world where institutions held the all-important data
and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain developing company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Many of you might recognize this voice from the eThekwini Secure Zello channel. Yes, this is Secure 3, endorsing Active Citizens Coalition for this year's 2021 local government elections. On the 1st of November, make the right choice and vote ACC.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031-208-9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
Welcome back, and we're definitely looking forward to a real bumper, should we say, lineup this morning, this rather chilly Monday morning, but we're going to warm you up. So we'll grab that cup of coffee, get enticed into getting into a positive vibe with Sister Nazia Saloojie. And, we're going to be talking such an important topic, which I think is pertinent to every single person. It's a question of many of us that, we ask ourselves what it is that we experience, the heartache, the emotional pain. A lot of us have, each one of us, I think, have gone through some form of trauma or heartache or pain, and we don't know how to let go of it, and we tend to sit with it. And what happens is, we don't realize that negativity is not allowing us to move forward in life. So Nazia is going to be giving us, should we say, some really valuable advice on how to get out of that zone and move ourselves into a better space. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on the show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's such a pleasure to be back in your space again.
Yes, your line seems to be a little bit bad. We seem to be breaking up there. Could we try that again?
Okay, maybe it is the weather. Can you hear me now?
No, the signal was good earlier, but your signal, I think, on your side is a bit bad. I'm not really getting to hear much of you there.
Okay, let me
there we go. There's something happened along the line. That's much better. I think there was a little gremlin.
Okay, yes.
But I think it's Monday morning blues, as they call it. But I'm so glad that at least we've got your signal back. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure having to chat with you about topics that I think are so pertinent to our lives. And a lot of the times we need people like yourselves to give us the direction. But for those that have not joined me on the show before and got to know you, just give us a quick brief about yourself.
Okay, so I am a life coach and addiction counselor, and I work with people who are addicted to substances, but also I coach people through their traumas, through their kinds of experiences, just getting people unstuck and perhaps reframing their perspective so that it serves you as opposed to holding you back or anchoring you. So that's a little bit about me. And of course, I've been appearing on Salam Media for, I think it's like 3 years now, and it's just been amazing to work with you guys.
Yes, and I think for us, it's been 3 years of a privilege to have a person like yourself educate us about relative topics in our lives. And trust me, it really has helped many people. And I think including ourselves with the team. I mean, each one of us does face a challenge. And we take that valuable advice and put it into account. So we want to thank you for doing that for us. But let's talk about a pertinent topic. It's the art of letting go. A lot of us have faced some form of trauma or heartache or pain in our lives in the past, and we could be, of course, also just going through it in the present. So chat to us a little bit about it and how we can deal with that particular aspect of our lives.
So when it comes to trauma and it comes to dealing with especially emotional trauma, things that hold us back in life, you've got to ask yourself, what is the nature of the trauma? How did you suffer? Was it physical? Was it emotional? What exactly does this trauma entail? And then you will learn, whether carrying it with you, is it serving you, or is it holding you back? Is it anchoring you? Because really, unless it's not teaching you, or it's not, edging you forward, what is its use? Is it making your journey heavy? So it's also dependent on what sort of trauma. Did you receive debriefing? Did you talk about this trauma? Did you seek help? And, up until this point, how is it serving you in life? What does it do for you actually? Because they say what you resist persists. So if you're resisting change, your current state will persist.
I agree with you. And, a lot of the times, Nazia, you find people don't actually want to talk about their trauma. Everybody seems to be bottling it up, which I think is very unhealthy for a person, because you're literally sitting with baggage that you really need to get rid of in order to be able to move forward in life.
Yes, and I mean, trauma is something that many people emerge from as victors, but some people actually make it part of their identity, which means without this trauma, who am I? It's become so ingrained in me that, without it, there's an empty space. How do I fill that empty space? So learning how to deal with trauma and making it work for you in your life, and also establishing what you were in control of and what you weren't in control of, and what were you a victim of, and what can you actually do with this now, is so important, because you need to get unstuck. If this is holding you back, then certainly it's not teaching you anything, or you're not being teachable in the moment. But letting go will be healthier for you physically and emotionally.
And I think it's also just having to speak to somebody that you could so-called trust, a confidant, if you don't necessarily want to go for professional help. I think just letting go of that issue and taking it out of your system, I think it lightens that burden in many directions.
Yes, and if you look at it, Nafisa, I mean, we go through trauma every day. You go through trauma in traffic. You go through trauma at work. You go through trauma in your relationships. You go through trauma with family. Not all of it is the same. You go through trauma with your health. Not all traumas are the same. So it needs to be dealt with at different levels. If gymming helps you deal with stress or the trauma related to stress, then that's your outlet. If talking to your friends and meeting for coffee is your outlet, then that also eases your load. Then do that. What is your coping mechanism? Some people medicate to deal with trauma. They medicate to mask the trauma and never really get to the root of the problem. So that's also something to look out for. How are you dealing? Because you're not letting go if you're still holding on. You're not letting go if every day the same issue is visiting you and you haven't reached closure, a point of closure enough, so that it doesn't bother you anymore. But truly, honestly, some people shackle themselves to the trauma because it gives them a sense of identity. It gives them a sense of, I am feeling alive, I'm feeling here, or I'm validated. And it's quite also a very difficult space to pull people out of, but it is not impossible.
Yes, and I like the idea that you say it's not impossible. So let's talk people through some tips and give them some ideas on how to actually, firstly, just like let go. Because what's happening, as you said, people tend to be shackling themselves to this type of situation, and they don't know actually where to start and how to get out of it. So give us some of those tips. Let's talk everyone through it, and let's help them get into a better space. And I'm hoping that this particular segment is going to do that once we're done.
it's such a task, but I know that you know, somebody out there will benefit at least from one of these tips. So number one, establish what kind of trauma is this, and where did it originate from, and did it actually stop, or is it an ongoing thing that you're experiencing? Once we know that, we know whether we go into the past and say, I have to make peace with this. You know, sometimes you'll never receive an apology from someone who caused you trauma, and you've got to
Oh, of
reach a
course.
point of closure. So, you know, sometimes you've just got to accept that, you know, this person's not going to apologize, and there's not going to be that kind of closure. You need to feel confident enough to move past that and elevate yourself to such a state that this doesn't affect you anymore. The second thing is to find out what your coping mechanisms are. Everybody has a coping mechanism, whether it's picking up the phone and talking to someone, gymming, eating or not eating, sleeping. You know, what are your coping mechanisms? Is it healthy for you or not? That's what you need to establish, because the unhealthy coping mechanisms leads to more trauma in your life down the line. So that's number two.
Okay, I agree with you. Would you say that it's important? Because I think a lot of us don't realize that we're saying, yes, we should go to life coaches like yourself to be able to give us better direction, because you're neutral parties and you'd see the situation for what it is. But don't you think it starts with us ourselves, for us to say that, you know what, this is the situation I'm in, and it's either I can cope with it from the types of tips that you're giving us to be able to get out of that space, or do I need a life coach to help me go further?
So number one is that everybody's born with the ability to cope, with the ability to overcome. We're just resilient creatures as human beings. So when you say you need a professional, it means you're having difficulty seeing it yourself, but it doesn't mean that you lack the ability. So try yourself first. Try out the tips. Try to find healthy coping mechanisms. Try to talk to a friend. Try to, you know, to gym. Try to do things that get your mind off it. Read books. Watch as many self-help videos as you can, and you will see whether you are moving or you're not moving. And if you find you're not moving out of that space, then you know, okay, I need help. If this is affecting your daily life, your routine, your work, your family, and it's putting you in a darker space, then you know, I need a little bit of support. Maybe just a pep talk, maybe just to watch something with someone, you know, motivational clips sent to me by a friend. But the truth is that we all have the potential to see the brighter side. It's a choice. Do you see it or don't you see it? Are you drawn to negativity, or are you going to allow positivity to take its place in your life and fully trust the process you are going through?
How do you do that? A lot of people find themselves in, and I've noticed this on a general consensus, is that they're stuck in this negative zone, but they find it so difficult to go into that positive. What sort of self-talk would they have to do in order to be able to do that shift? Because a lot of the times, you know, as you were saying, the shift is not the easiest of things to be able to do.
So what happens is that, you know, some people, it comes to conditioning in their life, you know, they say that it's environment, everything, heredity, nothing. Surround yourself with positive people, positive messages. Don't entertain negative talk, because other people's talk somehow becomes internalized and becomes our self-talk as well. So starting your day off with gratitude, saying, I'm grateful for the things in my life. Name 5 grateful things, for example. Read your salah. Intent. You're asking the Almighty to, you know, all the well wishes you have for yourself and others. So positive self-talk starts with self. What are you waking up in the morning? Are you waking up and saying, you know, I'm grateful, and for today, Allah will give me more things to be grateful for. And by lunchtime, you have 5 more things to be grateful for. But the thing is, count your blessings and not your problems, because whatever you count or focus on, that's going to grow. So if you can't, like, focusing on your problems, indeed, you're going to have more problems to be confronted with later. But if you focus on gratitude and, you know, a sense of joy, you can have more things to be grateful for and more things to be joyous about.
That's very true. I agree with you, because the thing is, I think once you start anticipating the positive of that, it starts enticing you into a better mindset where you start telling yourself, I have so many things that I could be grateful for. And that's when you start looking at the situation you're in and say, maybe you could use it as a learning curve and say, this happened to me so that I could learn this, that, and move myself into a better quality of life. And I think that's what it's about. It's teaching us to grow and to learn from what has happened.
Absolutely. And also we need to break the cultural, the cultural taboo around seeking help, talking to other people. People will say, you're talking out of your house. Why are you talking out of your relationship? What will people think? What will people say? But at the end of the day, that very perspective becomes a prison for you in this very miserable place. Maybe someone else has a better objective perspective that can reframe it for you, and you'll see that, hey, it's not so bad. I can overcome this. Maybe I was looking at it like a catastrophe, but really there's practical things, simple things I can do to tweak my day so that I don't end up feeling the way that I'm feeling. So reach out, break through societal norms, cultural norms, saying it's taboo and you shouldn't, and whatever the case is. What about your mental health while you build these prison bars? You become a prisoner of your own, and you stunt your growth, and your horizon just never moves because you're stuck in this very regressive place.
I so agree with you. And I think the point I wanted to bring up was your negativity starts then biting onto others. And that's basically what it is, because your karma and your aura is all negative. So if you're going to be having that type of vibe wherever you go, that's exactly what you're going to be attracting.
Exactly. They say like attracts like, we see it with cliques, we see it in offices, we see it in structures where one complaining person will attract another and then another until they are all known for, if you go with these people, you're going to eventually feel like, hey, I have nothing to complain about, but I'm feeling so heavy. I just feel miserable, So you need to be aware of the kind of energy and how you let people's energy affect you. I can stand with someone and talk to them, but I don't have to take on their feelings and emotions because they're projecting, and now I'm feeling any kind like down, or I'm not feeling that way, but there's nothing that happened to me. So that's how people's energies affect you. So you need to be accountable for your own energy and what you take into a room, and you need to be accountable to yourself for who you let affect you and how you let them affect you. It is
I
still
like how
in
you
your
say
power.
that, because I'm going to butt in there. I love how you say that. It's how people affect you, because you have choices in life, and you can either choose to allow them to make your life miserable or change it for the worse, or just to, of course, take it with a pinch of salt and pretend like it never happened, because that will then not affect your mindset in any way whatsoever.
Absolutely. I read this quote in a diary by Unknown, and it said, when someone says something to offend me, my soul ascends to such a state that the offense cannot reach me. And that was so profound, because how many times do we give people power to upset us, to take hold of our entire day? I've seen this person for 10 minutes, but I'm upset for 10 hours after that. How impactful how have we allowed this one person to basically contaminate the entire energy for the entire day, not realizing you are in control? That person should not have the power to contaminate the rest of your day. So just bring yourself to center, take a deep breath, and let go of all of that, so that your energy becomes infectious. You're good. You're a creature of light. You're going through this life, and it's not like we're going to get out of here alive. So let's not take it, so seriously that we start spreading misery. Let's rather be, bringers of joy. Let people see the good in everything. It's a much better purpose and way to go about life.
I so agree with you. And I love the idea that you brought up, that power and that value. A lot of the times we don't realize that we have value attached to ourselves, and we have the power of choice, like you said. So it's up to us to be able to make those decisions and decide whether we're going to allow it to happen or not. So I think what we would say is, don't allow anybody to strip your value or take your power away from you, because you are the being that you are, and people need to value you for that.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. It is an absolute honor to be in the company of another human being and learn from them. But you choose which lessons you want to take from them. You can learn from other people's trauma too. And you can also offer, a shoulder. You can offer them something that will make their journey easier. If you see someone in your household who's struggling, don't go to the point of like we say, asking them until they're so frustrated they can't speak. Give them space, allow them to feel, allow them to go through the moment, and then confront them. Say, let's have a cup of coffee, let's talk, how are you feeling? I want you to feel important and that I see you're not okay. Let's talk about it. Not say, he's miserable again, or she's always looking like this, because that again is a cultural norm that we bring forward. So be careful of that. Be mindful of how you affect other people, and be conscious in every single moment when you are interacting with someone, how they're affecting you and how do you intend to be affected by them.
I so agree with you. It's being a buzz of positivity and just creating that light wherever you are, making people feel better and lighter about what they're experiencing, and knowing that they can look at you as a form of a support structure as well. And I think that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And we all have the ability to do that. A smile from a petrol attendant. We underestimate people's value in our lives. When I pull up to the fuel station, I have the most friendliest people coming to me and greeting me in the morning. And, they're almost so just joyous that they force you to look at them and say, don't take this interaction for granted. He's saying, have a good day. And that's his intention for you.
And that little goes such a long way, and I so relate to you, because like there's times when you're driving and you stop at a filling station and you think to yourself, I'm so exhausted, and how am I going to get through this day? And then
that
just that
smile,
little
that
smile
just
and the
have a
kind
good gift
gesture.
everywhere. Just be conscious of.
Yes, most definitely. What would you like to leave us with this morning? I think we've had a very interesting segment where I think you've taught us a lot, and how given us, should we say, many valuable pointers with regard to this particular aspect of our lives.
It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. It's just us imparting knowledge to other people that's so important, and just things we overlook. It's the little things. It's the little things that we tend to take for granted. But never ever underestimate someone else's interaction with you. There's value and there's a message in there for you. Just listen.
That's so true. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You've definitely left us with a lot of good food for thought. And I'm sure many of us are going to be enticed into a really good space after we've spoken to you this morning. So thank you so much for always enticing us in many good directions.
It's such a pleasure, and I look forward to enticing you many more times.
We look forward to it too. I see your environment's very different. Are you on holiday?
No, actually, this is my home. I'm a farm girl, so I'm on the farm today.
Cool. That is so cool. I think we need to learn to get out in those spaces, because those are the ones that do you good. The fresh air every single morning. What a lovely space.
Yes.
But thank you so much, and do take care, and we hope to chat to you soon.
Inshallah. Jazakallah so much for the opportunity.
The pleasure was ours. You take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Nazia Saloojie definitely teaching us something really important, is how to let go of things from the past. That was some valuable information. If you've missed out, look out for the podcast a little later. We're going to go for a quick break. Joyce does. After that, I'm getting excited here with Zirk Botha, and he's going to be talking about something really interesting. So stay with us.